What's up, guys? Welcome back to another episode with Sports with Herb. Today's episode is just going to be doing like a recap of the Venezuela and USA game, which the US won 3-1 for this Camp Cupcake. Um, again, really trying to keep like the positive mindset to this. It really is hard to do so because, again, it's not FIFA sanctuated match that all of our best players are out in Europe. This is more for like testing like depth chart, kind of see who's like in, who's out, more outs than ins, because it's just a game where it's kind of like, how can you put it, like it's a game where it's not necessarily essential for the national team, for the U.S. national team, and it hasn't been the last couple of years. We're trying to strive for the better of it to actually become, something positive, something good, something like that's can work towards the future. Again, if in previous episodes, I'll just like this capacity for future, for future references, for future players, working to make it into that indication, but it just really wasn't, or it hasn't been this time around. So yeah, before we start, don't forget to subscribe, like, share with your friends, and I'm not gonna really go like too in depth because it just wasn't to it. But let's get started. The positive, it was a better game than, it was a better games than last year's Camp Cupcake. This time around, you were able to see some fluidity, or actually, no, a lot more fluidity than previous Camp Cupcake games, because you actually saw a difference in his playing style, how they wanted to play. Again, that's down to Pochettino. For him, credit to him for that. But at the same time, like these players, like honestly, like on those, it's like 2 to 3 players that might be in contention. Other than that, the rest of these guys just don't even make the A team, like, and they're not even close. It's like by a far margin. Like it's just ridiculous how far the scale is, and if you're gonna really like put them to the test, none of these guys were really gonna test like any of the A guys. Again, there's like few between the little of them that will, and obviously, if some of these guys do get called up to like the A team, they're gonna have to like really bring it and show it, because all the guys that are playing in Europe for the US, like they're above and beyond this type of level. And I guess we can go through like the lineup, how it went through. Patrick Schulte was in goal. He's probably the one guy that could get into that. Well, he's already been with the A team, but he's probably one that has like one of the best shots. At right back, you had Shaq Moore, which who knows why in 2025 he's still getting call up. Like there were other players that were probably could have looked at better rather than him, but it's a Camp Cupcake. Center back, we had George Campbell, Miles Robinson, and then Arston. Again, he played with the double pivot of Kramaski and McGlynn. And then the 3 down the middle was Matko. On the right side, it was Kaden Clark. On the left, Brian Gutierrez, and up top, Ajimang. And if you really want to go through it, the standout player was Jack McGlynn. If you guys remember in previous videos, I had him in the starting lineup, and I said that he would be like with that left foot magic, with one left foot, he was distributing left and right. And like prior up to the goal that banger that he scored, up until then, the game was, it was just kind of boring. I'm just gonna put it like that. It was kind of boring. But until he made that screamer, that banger of a goal, things started going and flowing a little bit better. It was like in the 30th something minute. And he was just, at first he was a little shaky. He did come in where he misplayed some passes, but as the game kept going and going, you could tell he was like the standout player. He was the one that really wanted to show it. He was always asking for the ball. He was coming in. He was going out. And yeah, his goal was very nice. It's nothing I haven't seen before. So he was a standout player, and obviously he got voted man of the match. And there's really no one else who should have got it. Like he was above everyone else. He was a standard player. To me, the worst player was Matko Milic. And even if he did score a goal, which was a nice goal, he made a run down through the middle. He opened Jack McGlynn. McGlynn assisted it, gave it back to him, and then he took his opportunity for that goal. But like 2 minutes in for that PK, it looked like he just rushed in and he took it from Jack McGlynn. Like they had like a little conversation, a little scuffle, and then he was just like, "No, like I'm just gonna take it." And if you're gonna take it and you're gonna do that, like at least make it, or at least make it seem like you will take a better penalty as it is. This guy just literally passed it to the goalie, to Fariñez, and he botched it. It's just like, bro, and you could see like going in, like he had like that attitude problem that they were like talking about this whole time, and it was just like, for one, how are you even starting over Diego Luna in the 10th position? Like to me, that's just it's bamboozling. Like Diego Luna, I don't know how much more disrespect we have to put on him, but he wasn't called to the Olympics. He declined to be part of like the backup squad, which you probably should have took it because he could have got playing time, because I think it was Bucio who got hurt, and then Josh Atencio went in to replace him and played some games. But I mean, like, I kind of get it, but at the same time, it's just like, and then here in the Camp Cupcake, he doesn't even get to start over Matko. Like, bro, like, this is probably one of the highest standard players from the MLS that we have, and you're just gonna not start him over some other guy who's, you could tell, was just not fit. He looked like he hadn't played in a game in a while, and was just like completely off just because what, he's Argentine and he played with New Old Boys. Like for the same time that we give him credit, you got to go ahead and criticize Pochettino as well. And this is one of the things that was just mind boggling. Like I saw like the lineup an hour prior to in, and it was just like, bro, like what are you doing just because he's Argentine? And the same could be said about probably like Kramaski. I know Kramaski, the home hero kid and everything, playing at the stadium, but bro, like his upside is that he's only like 19 or 20, so he has like a lot of potential to go ahead and still, you know, improve. But him on the ball, sometimes it was just like, my gosh. And for a play, and for a coach who likes players who are good on the ball, McGinn was fine being there. But Kramaski, the only thing he could probably offer this game was like his workhorse, where he was just running, running. But even then, like he was just running sometimes, and it was just like, bro, like where are you going? He did kind of settle into the game a little bit after, but I think it would have been much more beneficial if he would have been like the under 20s for this camp. Again, maybe they're just looking at depth for the under 20s, and they want to check out as many players as they can, and what is why he was allowed to be with the top team. But even then, it's just like, you know what? You have a lot to prove coming into the season. Like, you have good veteran players around you like Busquets, Messi, Alba, Suarez, who can teach you the ropes, especially probably more Busquets because he's a midfielder himself, and like get like better ball control, better distribution, not to be so like 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 uptight when you have the ball. So yeah, he's got a lot of improvement. Look he didn't look as good, or people I think just hype him up too much because of all that, and it's just like no, like he was one of the guys that was off too. He was like second to bad. The other one, who was probably like the worst one. So it's crazy to say that you have Shaq Moore in the lineup, but he wasn't even the worst one. It was Matko. But Shaq Moore also was just bad. Like on that side, I seen him and I was just like, okay, like you saw that it was a 4-2-3-1, but at times it was like the same thing he was doing with Scally. He was tucking in and he had three in the back. So he was the other third because obviously Arston is better at going forward than Shaq Moore is. And so he would tuck in and they would convert into a 3-2-4-1. So Brian Gutierrez would tuck in, kind of like the very first game that Poch got in charge. Gutierrez was tucking in, leaving that left side for Arston. And then you had Matko, who was also playing at the double 10. And then Caden Clark. And then McGlynn and Kramaski were playing the two eights. And then obviously Ajuman up top. So again, like it was a 4-2-3-1 in the setup, but when you're in game, you saw right away that Shaq Moore would tuck in and let Arsene go. and do his thing. Which Arsenal was another player who grew into the game. He did have a little lapses of where he was did give some balls away, but I mean, other than that, he tried different things, which was good to see. Like he would attack, he did some step overs, he was brave enough to do something different. He wasn't, like scared of the moment, which is good because that's also something that you want to see. But other than that, Ajiman did take his goal nicely. Again, please don't count the assist to Matko because it was a bad touch. He just literally just put his foot out and the ball rolled, and Ajiman was just in the perfect position, and he just took his player on, and with his pace and how tall, the long strides that he has, then he put it in between the goalkeeper's legs and he scored. So those were probably the best moments. But the player that probably took more of his opportunity was Jack McGinn. Like honestly, for me, Jack McGinn, if you want to have him in there, he could possibly replace Aiden Morris for one, because I think Aiden Morris is still injured, and he's just a lot more calm on the ball. Even though sometimes when he was pressed, he was a little, like reluctant. He would just pay it back real quick. And there was one play in specific where he had it, and they committed a foul, which I don't think it was a foul. I think they got all ball. And I don't know if he didn't see it, he didn't turn, he didn't see the player coming for some reason, but there's still some parts of his game where they need to improve. Obviously, he's young. He's only 21. So, if he's able to, like, improve that, I mean, I think he would probably be a player that could slot in. Again, I'd take him over Aiden Morris, possibly, maybe even Busio, and especially with Luca De La Torre coming back to the MLS, I feel like he's in that stride where, like, if this player isn't available, you could possibly see him getting called in. Again, hopefully he does make a move to Europe, either right now in the January transfer window or hopefully in the summer. But if he really wants an opportunity, he needs to take his chance and move. Hopefully to the Eredivisie, somewhere like maybe not necessarily like a top team like Ajax or PSV or whatnot, but like a mid-table team or above table team. That way they can show him like more of the ropes, because they allow players to develop there and they play players, and which is what you need at such a young age. So hopefully he can get that shot, because what helps him out is that he's a lefty too, and hardly any of our midfielders are lefties, and lefties just see a game different than a righty's perspective. So again, he was a standout player. The one that was the worst again was Matko. Like with Shackmore on the field, and you have Mako, who's just, he looked out of shape. He looked like he hadn't played a game in a while. His touch and everything was just off. Besides the goal that he took, like everything was just like, the only reason you're here is because he used to play for no old boys, just Poch's team, and because you're Argentine. And it's just like, you know what, like this is the first bad decision that Pochettino has made, and for the same reason that you give him his applause, you also have to criticize it for when he doesn't. This was definitely one of them. Like, you can't, hopefully in the next game, Diego Luna starts. So that way, when he came in, Diego Luna, you saw his touches. He was quick on the ball. He was moving. He was looking everywhere. Yeah, I think he only played like 30 minutes, 25 minutes, and that's not enough to see. So hopefully in the Costa Rica game, he gets more reps where he starts, plays a full game, because that's another guy that needs to make a move to Europe. Like, I was honestly lauding for him to go on ahead and make the A team, and I would have took him over Haji Wright, to be honest. Like, playing that left side, attacking mid, I would have took him over because Haji Wright for his club was playing on that left side, so I would have took him over, just to start integrating him into like the A team, because I mean Haji's at one point, like right now, I don't even think he's playing, so. And he's more on his way out than in, because you can play him if you play him as a striker. Our striker pool is obviously probably Pepe right now, because he's playing and because he's scoring every time. And when Balogun comes in, those are the top two, because for what they offer. Haji Wright will probably be like fourth, because then you have Josh Sargent, who's coming back from injury too, even though he didn't take his opportunity the last game that he played with the national team. Like his play is still there. Like you still gotta give him the benefit of the doubt. So if anything after that, those are the top three. Then you have Haji who could play there, but then you also have Brandon Vasquez who's after that, and yeah, those are probably the top five guys. Even though Ajiman scored and he had a good game, he's not gonna make. He's like 6th, 7th in the list. So I mean, again, this is called Cap Cupcake for a reason. Like it should be utilized for something better for the future. Because there was a lot of players that were left out or they weren't let go for their clubs. But this has to be utilized in a much better way in order to benefit the national team in the long run, because these are just guys who are getting like participation points, I guess you can say, who are like, oh, like you did a good season or whatnot, and then yeah, your reward is coming into January and getting that one cap that you'll get. Because prior to that, Diego Luna a year ago was his first cap, his second cap. Same could be said for Brian White. Last year was one cap. Again, this is his second when he came in as a sub. George Campbell, he's young. I'm glad he got opportunity, but didn't make the most of it. He's way below all of our center back pool, and plus all the other guys that are coming through. Like this is probably gonna be his one cap. Who else? Miles Robinson, for all the guy, even him, he's got to be probably like down the pecking order as well for center backs. Like he's probably like 5th or 6th, if anything, right now, because you have obviously Chris Richards, Mark McKenzie, Austin Trusty, Cameron Carter-Vickers, and Tim Ream still at this point, kind of. Like those should be like the top 5 center backs. Miles Robinson will probably be 6th, but even then you have other options that could play center back, like Leonard Maloney, Tanner Tessman. You know what? I usually put Joe Scally as a center back to make room for another right back there if possible, because I mean he's done it with Black, and he's also done it with the national team now, where he was started as a right back but tucked in to be that third center back in that 3 line at the back. So even he's there. And then I would even throw in Tyler Adams to possibly play center back. Like he's played right back. I think it was for Leipzig when he was there, like kind of like inverted. But you know what? If he's able to play there, like he could probably play center back as well. So you have options. So he didn't look, like up for it. There was a run where he did catch up to his player, made a nice tackle, but then for the goal that Venezuela scored, it was between him and Shaq Moore, who lost their mark, weren't there, and like they just shouldn't be getting called up anymore if it wasn't just for camps like this. So I mean, again, there was probably more negatives than positives, but it is what it is. This was just a game, a video to like analyze it. There's really not much to like analyze from here, other than that Jack McGlynn could be the only player like field wise to actually possibly get like a call up, depending on like how the situations are, who's hurt, who's injured, who's not in form, things like that. Seeing how these guys start their leagues, because I think it's in February once the MLS starts going again. So like how they start with their team, seeing if he gets a transfer or not. So yeah, Jack McGlynn, Diego Luna, and Patrick Schulte would be the guys that could possibly make the 18. Other than that, none of these guys are really like pushing and making it to go. Like Brian Gutierrez was another one who's just like in and out of the games. He had some nice moments. Kaden Clark as well, but these guys are still young too, like at 21. So if they don't get a move now, hopefully they do get a move soon, so that they can push themselves and make themselves like better players. Like for the future. But other than that, hopefully the next game is a lot better against Costa Rica, which is on Wednesday. But the changes that I would like to see, obviously, would probably be like kind of like the previous lineup that I had. You bring in Matt Freeze instead of Schulte, give him a game each. Don't play Shaq Moore, play Dejuan Jones on that side. Again, if you want to do George Campbell, give him another run. I'm not going to be mad about that. Probably change Miles as a center back, probably with Tim Ream or with Walker Zimmerman just to rotate, I guess, because of heavy legs and whatnot. Left back, get Arston another opportunity again. There, instead of Kravatsky, you put in Anelli and you put in McGlynn. Again, give him another go. At the 3, you take Matt Gowell. Please do not give him another start. And you put in Diego Luna. And then I wouldn't mind Caden Clark on the right side again, or Indiana Vasiliev, just to give him like a game each, I guess. And on the left side, Brian Gutierrez, because I like to see how he plays with Diego Luna. They could probably like interchange between the 2 10s right there, or they could play the double 10s again if you're gonna play that 3 line in the back. Daniel Jones could probably play that same way that Shaq Moore was, and where you tucked in, and then up top, I mean, just give Ajaman another shot. Why not? Like Brian White, it's not gonna offer you anything, in the future. So just why not give Ajaman another shot? I get for the way that he played, I guess he earned it. He was willing to run. He was willing to press. He did some hold up play. It could be better, but I mean, again, some of these guys did look kind of tired. I don't know if it was they're barely getting like their legs underneath them and all that. So you can give them the benefit of the doubt, but yeah, those are the changes I would make, and hopefully it makes a good game. I mean, the positive is that we won. There was goals, not like the other ones in the past where, like what was it last year where they played in Texas, and I think it was like Slovenia that they lost to, or I think it was Slovenia where they lost like 1-0. So I mean, at least they won this time around, and the game was like much more fluid than it was there. So you did have those positives there, but other than that, what was expected. So again, yeah, I think I'd try that lineup that I mentioned. Hopefully with the game under them and some minutes and like with more recovery and like a training session here and there coming in, Wednesday's game is a lot more fluid than this one, and we get just hopefully everyone just shows out and plays like much more comfortable, much more relaxing. Like, you kind of saw like how it was. So just hopefully sticking for positives. But other than that, there's really not much to it. We are gonna do an analysis after that game. It'll probably be as short as this one because there's not really much to talk about. But don't forget, subscribe, like, share with your friends, mention in the comments, and then after that Wednesday game, I'm also gonna do another surprise roster inclusion. So be on the lookout for that. But yeah, thanks guys. Have a blessed day, and let's hopefully see that Wednesday game is better. Thanks. Bless guys. Blessings.